Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
What a night last night in Milwaukee. Some dramatic moments and a win over the Brewers stretched the D-backs win streak to 5 games. And now today they'll look for their 3rd straight win to open up this road trip. Zack Greinke on the mound for the Diamondbacks against old friend Chase Anderson. It's D-backs baseball, brought to you by Sanderson Ford on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Miller Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. Thanks for beginning your Memorial Day weekend with us for some Diamondbacks baseball here today. And Bob, let's start with Zack Greinke, the former Brewer. He loves pitching here at Miller Park.
Boy, does he ever. I mean, a career numbers 16-2 in this ballpark. And one thing about Zack Greinke and the run he is on right now, as Diamondbacks fans, we were very fortunate to watch RJ and Kurt Schilling crank off string of excellent outing after excellent outing. And Zack Greinke's following right in that game plan. Every time he goes out there, you get the feeling that something amazing is going to happen.
Well, a lot of good things have happened for this ball club lately. They are developing one of baseball's best dynamic duos, and back in the 3 and 4 spots in the lineup for Torey Lovullo today, Goldie and Jake Lamb.
Well, these guys have been consistent producers all season long. We know Jake Lamb occasionally slides down in the order against left-handed pitching, but for the most part, those are your 3 and 4 hitters, and they have been putting numbers on the board on a daily basis.
We are set to go. Zack Greinke against former D-back Chase Anderson, the Diamondbacks and the Brewers from Milwaukee. First pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casino, Lone Butte, Bequiva, and Wild Horse Pass. By Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Sanderson Ford, the best play is at Sanderson Ford. By Gigablast, internet from Cox. Welcome to the gig life. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
Hey, Memorial Day weekend in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Diamondbacks have played very well here lately. 16-9 at Miller Park since 2010. Can they make it 3 in a row versus the Brew Crew? First pitch next. Sunny Saturday afternoon in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The roof and outfield panels open up here at Miller Park. The Diamondbacks and the Brewers, D-backs 10-1 in their last 11 games. Winners of 13 of 16 and currently holding the third best record in the major leagues. Here's the lineup for Torey Lovullo's ball club today. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Gregor Blanco leading it off out in right field today. Chris Owings at second base. Paul Goldschmidt at first, Jake Lamb at third, Yasmani Tomas out in left field, Ray Fuentes in center field, Nick Ahmed at shortstop, Jeff Mathis doing the catching for right-hander Zach Greinke. You would have to call this the defensive lineup.
It is a run prevention lineup, perhaps. I guess that would be the analytical term to use. Sometimes you want to score runs, other times you want defenders out there to prevent them, and with Greinke on the mound, that may be the case for Torey Lovullo here today. Your Ram truck starter for the Brewers, it's former Diamondback Chase Anderson. Chase now 29 years old in his second season here with Milwaukee. He won twice in his first 3 starts this year, but he's winless in his last 6 appearances.
And we know Chase Anderson very well from his time in the desert. A 4-seam fastball, an occasional 2-seam sinker, has a big curveball. His best pitch is that straight changeup. He'll use that for swing and a miss.
Let's take a look at the defense behind him, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Eric Thames moves out to left field for this afternoon's ball game. Keon Broxton in center, Domingo Santana over in right field. It'll be Travis Shaw and Orlando Arcia on the left side of the infield, with Eric Sogard and Jesus Aguilar on the right side. Jet Bandy once again doing the catching for right-hander Chase Anderson.
Greg Gibson behind the plate today. He's got the balls and strikes. Lance Barrett is our first base umpire. Stu Sherwater at second, and the crew chief Jim Reynolds is at third. You see the caps that all the players are wearing today. The 5th consecutive year that every team in Major League Baseball will wear these special Memorial Day camouflage jerseys and caps. They'll do it all the way through Monday. One side of the cap has 5 stars representing the 5 branches of the military, while the stars are also stitched on the jersey sleeves. And Chase, as he always has, drawing the initials RDA into the mound behind him for his late father Robert, and we are set to go. The Brewers and the Diamondbacks, the 3rd of a 4-game series from Miller Park in Milwaukee. Gregor Blanco in the leadoff spot today, playing right field. Blanco 293 and 1 home run. 3 hits in the series opener here, including his leadoff home run off Zach Davies on Thursday. It was the 4th leadoff homer of Blanco's career and a tremendous way to start this road trip. 11 games in 11 days, and 1 batter in, you're leading. That's the way to go. This was Blanco to lead off this series Thursday night.
Yeah, he put a charge on this ball just to the left of straightaway center field out into the Brewers bullpen. As you said, a great start to an 11-day road trip.
And then Chris Owings led off the 2nd inning of that ball game with a homer, and the Diamondbacks were off and running. 2-2 on Gregor Blanco. Just missed. It's a full count, 3-2. Speaking of Chris Owings, he's on deck. Chase Anderson coming off a loss at Wrigley Field in his previous start. That was last Sunday. Allowed 6 runs, 7 hits. He lasted only 4 innings in that game, and that's happened a bit too often lately for Chase. He's failed to finish 5 innings in 3 of his 4 starts this month. Good take there on that fastball. Chase Anderson throwing 97 according to the gun there, and Blanco has a leadoff walk.
The gun might be just a tad hot today.
Kind of feels that way.
Hey, you mentioned Anderson's struggles recently. He gave up only 7 earned runs in the entire month of April. He gave up 6 in his last start.
Yeah, got off to a tremendous start, but things have evened out for him a bit lately. Blanco 3 for 3 in his stolen base attempts this year. You can see that shadow halfway across the infield, the entire right side encased in shadow. The lights are on here at Miller Park with everything opened up. Just like Chase Field, they have roof. They have a roof. They have outfield panels. And that wind seems to be blowing in from behind left field right now through those open panels. Missed with a fastball, and Owings is ahead 2-0. Chris, 324 now, 6 home runs. 3 hits in the series. He doubled last night, homered on Thursday. Getting the start today at second base. Torey Lovullo wanted to give Brandon Drury a day. And the idea of getting days off will continue tomorrow as well, Torey told us. It's a priority on this trip. 11 road games in 11 days. Blanco holds it first, and that pitch is inside. It's 3-0. There's the skipper. A great team win, he thought, last night. An emotional night in a lot of areas. Good team building win. A lot of winning baseball moments, as he likes to put it. Diamondbacks have had a lot of those moments lately. 12 games over 500. Coming in here today at 31-19. A game behind the Rockies for the NL West lead. Goldie on deck.
Boy, that's a new twist for Goldie. He almost always wears all white batting gloves.
You know, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, Chase Anderson has walked the first 2 batters of the ball game ahead of Paul Goldschmidt. And he certainly knows better than that.
Yeah, usually that's not a good recipe for an opposing pitcher against the Diamondbacks. Put a couple guys on base ahead of the middle of this lineup. We talked about Goldie and Jake Lamb in the open of the show. They've been doing exactly what you expect your 2-run producers in the middle of the lineup to do.
You've heard of the Gold Dust twins. How about the Goldie Dust twins?
There you go.
That's a start. 318, 11 home runs. That OPS, by the way, 7th best in the major leagues. Goldie leading the majors in walks. He's walked 3 times in this series, 1 for 6 with a double so far. Jet Bandy, the catcher, in that camo catching gear, signaling the infield defense.
Yeah, I guess to go along with all the green camo, the beige catcher's gear, and a lot of players wearing beige shoes today, or tan, whatever color you want to call that. Well, Jet Bandy was the guy that had all pink gear on Mother's Day.
Embrace the theme. 2 on, nobody out for Goldie. Takes a first pitch fastball, and it's 0-1. Goldie, considering the path of destruction he's left behind him in his career in this ballpark, has really been relatively held in check by the Brewers series. Just 1 for 6. He's walked 3 times. Buckled him with a breaking ball there, and it's 0-2. Good speed on the bases for Torey Lovullo if he wants to get aggressive, although you've got your 3 and 4 hitters coming up, so we'll see what happens. Blanco at second and Owings at first.
You notice on our little Fox box down there in the corner, the base runners have stars.
We have broken out all the little tricks for Memorial Day weekend. Here's the 0-2. Got him. Well, figure that out. Chase Anderson walked the first 2 guys he faced, then struck Goldie out on 3 pitches.
You mentioned Goldie with only 1 hit so far in the series, and we talked about it last night. He looks like he's just a little bit out of sorts up there right now. A lot of check swings, a lot of uncertainty in his approach at the plate, which is highly unusual in this ballpark.
Jake Lamb, 14 homers, 42 runs batted in. That leads the Diamondbacks. 14 home runs, only 1 off the major league lead. And he's second behind only Colorado's Charlie Blackmon for the most RBIs in the majors. There's ball 1.
Boy, and lately he has just been punishing strike breaking balls. Any slider or a curveball that ends up in that strike zone, especially middle of the plate in, he has just been putting a charge on it.
Well, that ball he hit off Junior Guerra here last night was a tremendous blow. Just a hanging nothing ball, and he crushed it. A towering home run. Jake has homered, in fact, in 3 of his last 4 games. He hit it in that shadowy area where no one is sitting right now, sort of in that corner almost. I think they're afraid to go up there.
Yeah, sit there at your own risk.
Yeah, might get hit again or something. Takes the 2-0. That's in there. This was Jake Lamb last night.
Yeah, just a rolling slider in the middle of the plate. Look where this thing goes. Gee.
Boy, that is majestic. That's fun to watch. Wouldn't check his swing and a fastball, and it's 2-2. We saw Chase Anderson plenty. I don't remember him throwing 96, 97. I think you're right. The gun is maybe a tad hot here today. There's Manny Tomas in left field today. He's on deck. Chase has bulked up a bit. He added about 10 pounds in the offseason. That's given him an uptick in velocity, but I don't know about 97. Now he's stepped up big time. Walked Blanco and Owings, struck out Goldschmidt and Lamb. 2 down.
We talk a lot about Torey and how he refers to moments in the game. There's a lot of baseball left to play, but this could be one of those moments right here. You got Chase Anderson on the ropes in the first inning, walking the first 2 batters. Really like to come out of this with something on the scoreboard.
And Chase has had problems with Yasmani Tomas, who homered off him a couple of times last year. 2 on and 2 out for Yasmani. 0 for 4 with a walk last night in his return to the lineup. That snapped a 7-game hitting streak. 253 and 8 home runs. Blanco is at second, Owings at first, and 2 outs. This was last year. We flash back, set the Wayback Machine to Chase Field. Yasmani Tomas, not 1 but 2 off Chase. At Chase. But Tomas down, no balls and 1 strike. Shortstop Orlando Arcia. Sogard at second for the force on Owings. That ends the inning. Anderson strands the 2 leadoff walks. Zach Greinke coming up. Back inside Miller Park, roof and outfield panels opened up on a sunny Saturday. And the Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks is Zach Greinke, a former Brewer. Greinke this year has won 4 consecutive starts. He's unbeaten in his last 6. That 2.82 ERA. 5th best in the National League. He is 4th in the league in strikeouts.
Yeah, really, he's just had one real clunker of an outing against the Dodgers earlier this season when he gave up 10 hits and 5 runs in 5 innings. Other than that, Zach Greinke has been outstanding all season long.
Eric Sogard, the second baseman today, leads it off for the Brewers. Sogard in a dozen games with Milwaukee since his call up from AAA. Has really contributed. 407 and 2 home runs. It's a tapper to first for Goldie. Quickly 1 down. The lineup for Craig Counsell's Milwaukee Brewers is sponsored by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Eric Sogard, the second baseman, went down quietly there, leading it off. Eric Thames will be out in left field today with Jesus Aguilar at first base. Travis Shaw across the diamond at third. Domingo Santana once again in right field. Jet Bandy behind the plate. Keon Broxton in center field. Orlando Arcia at shortstop. And Chase Anderson, the righty, on the mound.
Brew Crew sputtering under Craig Counsell. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 0-4 on this 6-game homestand. Just 12-15 at Miller Park this year. Eric Thames in left field today. Diamondbacks have the shift on, and there's strike 1. Thames 286. He leads the Brewers with those 13 homers. It's hard to see with those shadows, but there are defenders there, trust me. Thames has talked a lot about his body wearing down already this year as he makes the adjustment after playing in Korea for 3 seasons, and he's looked very much out of sorts in this series. Now make it 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts in the series so far, and a lot of his at-bats have looked just like that.
Yeah, swings that aren't even close to pitches, at pitches that aren't even close to the strike zone. Just really feeling for it right now.
All right, on defense for the D-backs, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Tomas, Fuentes, and Blanco left to right across the outfield. Lamb, Ahmed, Owings, and Goldschmidt third to first across the infield. Jeff Mathis once again behind the plate for a Zach Greinke start.
Jesus Aguilar, the first baseman today. No Jonathan VR in the lineup, and no Hernan Perez. There's a strike. So Aguilar's at first, 286. He's homered 3 times. He singled Thursday, 1 for 4 in the series with a pair of strikeouts. Aguilar at first. Craig Counsell has Eric Thames in left field with Ryan Braun back on the DL now with that calf problem. Aggravated in Thursday's series opener. 1-2. The big dude up there, 6'3", 250. He can get behind it. Checking with Greg Gibson, the plate umpire. That's out of play. Well, we have a moment. Let's take a look at Bob Brenly's Valley Honda Dealers key to the game.
Well, for Zach Greinke, this has to be his comfort zone here at Miller Park. A 16-2 lifetime record as a member of the Brewers. He was 15-0 in the 2011-2012 season. ERA just a tick over 3 in his career in this ballpark. If there was ever a comfort zone, this is it.
He loves pitching in this park. One of his favorite places in which to pitch. And that 15-0 record here as a Brewer is the longest home winning streak by a pitcher in Brewers history.
You know, and this is a ballpark that's widely known as a hitter's paradise.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Aguilar lifts it in the air, center field. Fuentes coming in. He calls off Blanco, and he's got it in the shadow. A 1-2-3 first for Zach Greinke. No score from Milwaukee.
Top half of the second, no score. Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-the-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Diamondback fans with us on this Memorial Day weekend. Lovely day here in Just outside downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Ray Fuentes leads off the second against former Diamondback Chase Anderson. Fuentes in center field, 4 for 27 in 10 games for the Diamondbacks, a 148 average. Singled in his start in center field last night, and is back out there today. Interesting about the construction of today's Diamondback lineup. Sometimes you build a lineup to score runs, and other times to prevent runs. And today is clearly a run prevention type lineup. Diamondbacks have, for the most part, their best defensive options starting at just about every spot. Fuentes in center. You got Ahmed at shortstop. Owings at second base. Mathis catching. And Torrey thought today, you know, with Greinke pitching, coming off an emotional game last night, maybe there's a bit of a hangover effect for both clubs. And so it could be a low-scoring game, and in those, defensive plays can make the difference.
Anytime Zach Greinke takes the mound, you assume it's going to be a low-scoring ball game, at least on half of the field.
You bet. It's certainly been that way for the last month or so. He has been amazing.
I mean, we used to do that back in the day when RJ and Schill pitched. We didn't think the other team was going to do too much against them, so we wanted to make sure we had our best defense on the field those 2 days, and then the rest of the rotation we kind of mixed and matched, got guys at bats that needed at bats, figuring that maybe we were going to need to score some runs to win a ball game.
2-2 on Ray Fuentes. Anderson has struck out 3 of the last 4 he's faced, 1 down in the second.
Changeup, that's his go-to pitch when he has runners in scoring position, when he finds himself in some kind of a jam. That's his comfort zone, going to that straight changeup.
Nick Ahmed at shortstop. 257 and 4 home runs. Nick's first appearance in the series. He and Chase were pretty close when they were teammates with the Diamondbacks. Nick started Wednesday's win over the White Sox at Chase Field. Had a couple of hits and RBIs in that game. So the idea with a run prevention lineup, got an ace out there like Greinke, got good defenders behind him. You figure you probably don't need more than a couple of runs and you should be okay, right?
Yeah, that's the theory going in anyway. And theories get blown up sometimes, but you know, what Zach has done recently, you would assume it's going to be somewhat low-scoring ball game.
But you know, oftentimes if you have one of these pitchers duels with 2 aces, you end up playing a 8-7 game or something. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, and you know, I prefer to say that a guy is not in the starting lineup rather than to say he's got the day off, because Brandon Drury, David Peralta, Chris Herman, any of these guys, Daniel Descalso, might be called upon to pinch hit late in the ball game in a very key situation. So you got some good weapons off the bench today.
Well, Craig Counsell has the opposite effect going in his dugout, because remember they lost Braun when he aggravated that calf injury. He went on the DL. They used the roster spot to activate Junior Guerra, the pitcher, who started last night. So they're a man down on the bench carrying an extra pitcher. To have Hernan Perez and Jonathan Villar back there. They're not in the starting lineup for the Brewers. Well, Nick chases a high fastball, and Chase Anderson, after those 2 walks to start the ball game, is feeling it right now. He's punched out 4 of the last 5 he's faced. The catcher, Jeff Mathis. Jeff singled in Thursday's series opener, hitting 181 on the year. He's homered twice. Hard to third. Travis Shaw is there. Chase Anderson has set down 6 in a row. He's got 4 strikeouts, no score at Miller Park.
Greinke out for the bottom of the second. Now, Brewers manager Craig Counsell was teammates with Zach back in 2011 here with the Brewers. He texted with Zach earlier this week, and he said they exchanged some pleasantries, but he did have some suggestions for Zach on how he would pitch today. You can only imagine what that was. But in all seriousness, Counsell said he's got great command, he's got a great slider, he's a great competitor, he's a terrific athlete. So, as Counsell mentioned, he's the whole package right now, and guys, we've seen just how dominant Zach can be recently.
It's been a lot of fun to watch. Thanks very much, Jody. Travis Shaw leads off the Brewers second, gets one in the air, pretty deep center field. Fuentes just shy of the wall. Our State Farm winning combo. How about Zach Greinke lately? Not too bad, and the numbers are pretty impressive.
I mentioned he's had really one bad outing this year against the Dodgers, but he's been especially good over his last 4 starts. 38 punch outs, 4 walks in his last 4 starts.
Domingo Santana, the right fielder. That's a home run swing, and it's 0-1. Santana 264. He's got 6 home runs. His only hit in the series was a single in last night's game.
And you may have heard Craig Counsell on the pregame show talking about encouraging his players not to swing at pitches on the edge of the zone. Well, that's basically all Zach Greinke throws.
Yeah, that doesn't leave you much. I mean, he's 5-0 in his last 6 starts, Zach Greinke. 58 strikeouts against only 6 walks over that span, so he doesn't miss very often at all unless really he wants to. Chases one for the second strikeout for Greinke. 2 down.
That's the thing about Zach Greinke. Even the walks that he has, occasionally it's by design. If he finds himself in somewhat of a jam, got a hitter at the plate, maybe a base open, and a guy that he'd rather not pitch to in a tough situation, he's liable to bounce 4 breaking balls or throw some change-ups in the dirt trying to get a swing and a miss. If not, take your base. I'll go after the next guy in the lineup.
Well, the next guy is the catcher, Jet Bandy. 2 hits last night, including a solo home run. 278 and 6 homers. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Here comes Goldie. A pretty quick second inning for Zack Greinke. We'll head to the third, scoreless in Milwaukee. No score, D-backs and Brewers. Good golf weather today. And guess what? Beginning June 15th, the greatest players in the world descend upon Erin Hills, which is only about an hour's drive from here, a little less than that, as Dustin Johnson looks to defend his U.S. Open title. The 117th U.S. Open begins June 15th on Fox, on FS1, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Erin Hills.
As opposed to Aaron Hill, who's with the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, nice. He's a former Brewer. Zack Greinke leads off the third against Chase Anderson, who's retired 6 in a row. Well, a lot of the Diamondback coaches and some of the pitchers who are off keep going back and forth between here and beautiful Kohler, Wisconsin, which is one of the great golf destinations in this country. Some spectacular courses built in Kohler and Sheboygan. That's a little less than an hour from here.
It's been an off day up there several years ago playing golf. Played 18 holes in the morning with the cart. Played 18 holes in the afternoon walking Whistling Straits.
And what was the status at the end of the day?
I hated golf by the end of the day. Didn't ever want to play again.
Golf can often hate you back. In my experience.
And when you're walking as opposed to riding in the cart, I don't know about other golfers out there, but I have a tendency, if I hit one in the weeds, it stays in the weeds. I just drop one and keep playing.
Do you penalize yourself?
Of course.
Right.
I penalize myself every time I put the tee in the ground.
It's penalty enough just trying to do well. But boy, the Black Wolf Run and everything up there in Kohler, just spectacular.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area of the country up there, rolling farmland, lakes and streams.
Yeah, there was nothing up there a few decades ago. Now it is a prime target for golfers from all over the world. Right along the shores of Lake Michigan, there's a river there too. 2-2 on Greinke. Well, Chase Anderson so far through 2 1/3 has struck out 5 Diamondbacks. That'll bring up the leadoff man, Gregor Blanco. Anderson walked Blanco and Owings 1 and 2 to lead off the ball game and looked to be on the ropes almost immediately, but then struck out Goldie and Jake Lamb. And he's not allowed a base runner since. 7 straight set down. Chase Anderson was not even assured of a rotation spot with the Brewers this spring. He'd lost his arbitration case with Milwaukee. And it looked very much like he'd begin the year as a long man in the bullpen. But then Matt Garza suffered a groin strain in his last Cactus League outing. And Anderson left Maryvale as a starter. And he was the Brewers' best starting pitcher for just about all of last month. But May's been a big disappointment. Winless in 4 starts in May with a 7.71 ERA. But so far today he's looked much more like that April pitcher than he has the pitcher he's been this month. Blanco pops one up foul ground near the Diamondback dugout. Shaw is there. And the third baseman has it. 2 outs. Chris Owings, the second baseman today. Brandon Drury not in the starting lineup. Fastball's right there, and it's 0-1 on CO. Well, Chase Anderson, after his first 3 starts this year, was 2-0. His ERA was 1.50. He got off to a tremendous start. And wins over the Blue Jays. He beat the Cubs. But he hasn't won since. 0-1 in his last 6 starts. And in those 6 starts, the Brewers have won just twice. Left that one up. Owings missed it. It's 1-2. Chase's big problem last year with the Brewers, his first year in Milwaukee, was the home run ball. Only 4 pitchers in the league gave up more homers last year. And he's been a lot better about that this year. He has set down 9 in a row. He's got 6 strikeouts. No scores. Here to open up Memorial Day weekend. Scoreless in the 3rd. D-backs fans, stop by your local Fry's and stock up on your favorite Pepsi products. Using your VIP card, you'll earn D-backs rewards points. And you can also win one of 6 suites to a D-backs game, courtesy of Pepsi. See in-store display for official rules and details. Here's Keon Broxton, the center fielder. Zach Greinke has retired all 6 batters he's faced. Well, Chase Anderson is dialed in here. Got off to a terrible start. He walked the first 2 he faced and hasn't had a base runner since. Broxton 267, 5 home runs. He gets singled and walked in the series. Zach quickly ahead 0-2. Broxton 0 for 3 last night. That snapped a 7-game hitting streak for him. How about this? Zach Greinke 20 pitches, 16 for strikes. How do you tell a guy not to swing at something on the edge of the strike zone? That was an interesting strategy that Craig Counsell put on today. I'm not sure how you execute it exactly against a guy like this.
Well, the theory being, you know, those borderline strikes on the edges of the zone and down there at the bottom of the knees, you're probably not going to be able to do anything with them anyway. So take them and hope that Greg Gibson misses the call.
Well, that happens from time to time.
I mean, that's exactly what Zach Greinke wants an opposing team to do, is swing at those borderline pitches, make that soft contact, get the quick outs he's looking for.
Every pitch has a purpose. Broxton skies one pretty deep right center field, but playable for Fuentes. Well, that's a tricky section out there, right center field. That's the second time the ball game Ray has gone right up to the edge of that shadow and then caught the ball in the shadow coming out of that bright sunlight. That can't be easy. Orlando Arcia, the shortstop. 235. He's homered 4 times. Got a pair of hits in this series. He's doubled and walked. Out toward right. Blanco backing up at the track. He reaches up and grabs it. Gregor Blanco. Well, we talked about the idea of a run prevention lineup, and we just saw it put into effect right there.
Great jump by Gregor Blanco in right field. A quick peek to the wall as he got back near the warning track, and then just reaches up there with that right hand and makes the play. Extra bases for sure if that gets over his head. Nice running catch.
Here's Chase Anderson now with 2 down in the 3rd. Greinke behind, 2 balls and 1 strike. Fastball swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Greinke coming off a win over the White Sox Monday at Chase Field. He was 1 out shy of a complete game. Gave up 1 run, 4 hits, 8 2/3, had a season high 12 strikeouts. And he strikes out Anderson to end the 3rd. Well, we are through 3 innings at Miller Park. Neither team has put up a hit yet, but the heart of the order is coming up in the 4th. Goldie, Lamb, and Tomas. Anderson so far dealing against his former team. Our Cox high-speed highlights. He walked Blanco and Owings to lead off the ball game. And he's set down all 9 he's faced since. He's got 6 strikeouts through 3 innings.
Yeah, 2 in each of the 3 innings he's pitched so far. Well, after the first 2 hitters of the ball game, you thought it might be a short outing for Chase Anderson today. Could not find the strike zone to Blanco and Owings, but has it wired in now.
That fastball's got some zip to it today for Chase. He'll face Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, and Yasmani Tomas. 3, 4, and 5 here in the top of the 4th on this Memorial Day weekend from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Nice day to sit at the ball game, have a brat and a beer, enjoy the sunshine. Sunny, cool day.
Is there a bad day to have a brat and a beer and watch a ball game?
It's a fair point. Fair point.
Oh, this is perfect tailgating weather for the fans here in Milwaukee. They were out in the parking lot very early today setting up.
Yeah, they tailgate at these Brewer games just like at Packer games or Wisconsin Badgers games. See them all over the parking lot here. The parking lot for this ballpark actually was where County Stadium used to be.
Right.
The Brewers' old park. So there's lots of parking out there, and everybody has their chairs and their stoves and grills, and off you go. Chase Anderson recovers and throws out Goldie to open up the 4th. He's set down now 10 straight. I think tailgating may have been invented in Wisconsin. There's a chance.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised.
It's certainly almost the national pastime out here. And they do it right. Well, like Goldie, Jake Lamb struck out his first time up today. Brewers have the shift on against Lamb. Takes ball 1. Here's a look at the lineup defensively. RC, the shortstop, right next to the second base umpire. Sogard, the second baseman, out there in short right. That's in there for a strike, and it's 1-1.
You know, we mentioned this about a week ago, partner. Eric Sogard's young daughter, Sadie. Google it.
Yeah.
Eric Sogard's daughter. It's one of the most heartwarming things you'll ever see. Her daddy had hit a home run against the Padres, and later in the game, Hunter Renfroe from the Padres came back and hit a home run to win the game, and she could not understand why the Brewers lost if daddy hit a home run.
They're supposed to win when that happens.
It's
yeah,
so cute.
Renfroe got up there in the bottom of the inning, trailing in the ball game, and hit a walk-off home run to win it, and she did not take it well.
Eric's wife was trying to explain to the young daughter why the Brewers didn't win. She just couldn't get it. Daddy homers, we win.
2-2 on Lamb.
You know, Craig Counsell's son Brady, when he was with the Diamondbacks, was the same way. He wanted the D-backs to win every game, every night, regardless of who they played against. And he went home with tears in his eyes several times.
Those losses are hard when you're that age. Fastball missed.
What I hesitate to admit is I went home with tears in my eyes a few times.
Tears of joy after last night's amazing game.
Yeah.
3-2 to Jake Lamb. Well, Jake got it started in the 4th inning last night. His home run with 1 out in the 4th was the Diamondbacks' first hit in that ball game. And he's a 1-out base runner now for Yasmani Tomas. 3rd walk of the ball game issued by Chase Anderson. Yasmani hit into a fielder's choice in his first at bat. Chase Anderson, 2 seasons with the Diamondbacks. 2014, 2015, went 15-13 as a D-back. Diamondbacks made Chase a 9th-round pick out of the University of Oklahoma back in '09. And was traded here to Milwaukee prior to last year along with Aaron Hill and prospect Isan Diaz. That was part of the deal that brought Gene Segura to Arizona. Segura then sent to Seattle for Taijuan Walker. As Monty down 0-2. Speaking of Taijuan Walker, he threw a bullpen session here and did just fine. Felt very comfortable as he works his way back from that blister on his right index finger. Here's Taijuan. The plan is for him to throw a simulated game in Pittsburgh either Monday or Tuesday. That'll be a big test for him. And after that, they'll see how Taijuan's doing. Make sure that blister's not hot anymore. The medical team will do its evaluation. And if it's an all clear, there's still a chance he could make a start in Miami at the end of this road trip next weekend. But we'll have to wait and see until that simulated game Monday or Tuesday. 1-2 pitch from Chase Anderson. Got him. 7 strikeouts for Anderson. 2 down in the 4th.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Still no hits in the ball game. Lamb at first with 2 down for Ray Fuentes, who was a strikeout victim in his first at bat. D-backs trying to get it going here in this ballpark against Chase. They've done very well here since the 2010 season. Diamondbacks 16-9 at Miller Park, including wins in the first 2 games of this series. Swing and a miss on a fastball, and it's 1-1. Good look at the Memorial Day caps and uniforms that every major league team will be wearing throughout the weekend. Today through Monday, in fact, 5th consecutive year Major League Baseball has honored Memorial Day. Hold foul, and it's 1-2. Well, I know we talked about a run prevention lineup, but you got to at least score 1 run.
It helps.
D-backs still looking for the first base hit. Just missed with that fastball, and it's 2-2.
Appeared to be just below, maybe not. 95 right there at the knees. I thought it was low based on the way Jet Bandy caught that ball.
So that pitch framing apparently fooled Greg Gibson as well. Fuentes flails at that one. Chase Anderson has struck out 2 in all 4 innings he's pitched today. Still no score. Backs and Brewers this Memorial Day weekend. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Homes for Our Troops, building mortgage-free, specially adapted homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Learn more about how Homes for Our Troops is enabling our vets to rebuild their lives by visiting foxsportsupports.com. Happy Memorial Day weekend to you and yours. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Arizona. For a terrific pitchers duel here. Zack Greinke has retired all 9 Brewers he's faced. He's got 3 strikeouts. He's yet to allow a base runner. Matched up toe-to-toe with Chase Anderson. Eric Sogard, the leadoff man, leads off the 4th. Sogard, since he was called up from AAA, has started games for Craig Counsell at shortstop, second base, third base, left field. In there at second today. Jonathan Villar has the day off. That's lifted out to left field. Yasmani Tomas on the run, and it drops in for the first hit of the ball game for either side. And Sogard is in at second. Just kept slicing away from Yasmani Tomas, and Sogard has a double to lead off the 4th.
Very close play at second base there at the tail end.
Torey Lovullo saying, hold on, let's have a look.
It looked like maybe he just did get that left hand on the base before Chris Owings slapped that tag back on his arm.
No challenge from the Diamondbacks. Here's Eric Thames. Thames struck out his first time up. He has looked dreadful in this series. 0 for 9 with 5 punchouts. D-backs put 3 infielders on the right-hand side. Thames in his last 11 games, 3 for 30 with 12 strikeouts. Ahmed, the shortstop, sneaking in behind Sogard at second. Now he backs off, and that pitch misses. Greinke behind, 2 balls and no strikes. Eric Thames, when he played in Korea for 3 seasons, put up monster home runs. But all he saw while he hit there was junk. He never saw a fastball, so he's really developed a pretty good eye up there. Knows when to lay off those breaking balls.
Well, Cecil Fielder kind of did the same thing when he went over to play in Japan for a few years, learned how to hit the breaking ball, how to see the breaking ball out of the pitcher's hand, and came back to the States a much better hitter than when he went over.
Yeah, Thames much more selective up there. Learned patience at the plate, learned when to jump on a fastball when he did get one. And now has a pretty sharp batting eye. Fastball away, missed, and Greinke's behind on Thames, 3-1. Jesus Aguilar on deck.
I mentioned earlier about Zack Greinke and the base on balls, and occasionally it's strategic. He doesn't mind if he walks a guy. He has a base open right now at first and a right-handed free swinger in the on-deck circle. This could possibly be somewhat of a pitch around for Zack Greinke to Eric Thames.
Ground ball into the shift. Chris Owings, the second baseman from the outfield grass, and Thames does indeed get it to the right side to move Sogard into third.
Boy, and when you're struggling at the plate, anything you can do to help your team offensively, and in this case move Sogard 90 feet closer to home plate, yeah, you feel like you're at least helping the team try to score a run. Get some fist bumps over there in that first base dugout from his teammates.
Jesus Aguilar flied out to center in his first at bat today. Sogard at third, 1 out. That fastball missed, says Greg Gibson, 1-0.
Zack Greinke, when he struck out 12 White Sox Monday, had everything working. Fastball command was outstanding. Slider, changeup were there for him. Zach thought the White Sox got their best swings against his curveball, which they hit pretty good when he threw it. Gave up a home run on a curveball. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Aguilar. He actually tried to throw one of those eephus curveballs to Leury Garcia, the White Sox center fielder. He threw it a little too hard, and Garcia hit it out for a home run. Haven't seen an eephus pitch yet today. 40 pitches, 27 strikes. Here's the 1-2 to Aguilar. Nice block by Mathis. Keeps Sogard at third.
A little short slider down there in the dirt for Jeff Mathis. Ooh, got lucky that time. Snuck under the glove and hit him in the right foot and stayed right there.
A little pinball machine there off the shin guards.
Yeah, you know what I say? There's no such thing as a bad block. Use the umpire, use the back of your helmet, whatever you need to do to keep that ball at home plate.
Especially with a guy on third. Here's the 2-2. Foul right behind Ed Cedar at third base. Greinke throwing a lot of strikes today. That was certainly the case in the win over the White Sox, where he was tremendously efficient. Zach was ahead in the count all night long, had 7 0-2 counts in that win over Chicago. And maybe most remarkably, he recorded an out on 3 or fewer pitches 14 times.
Amazing.
But in a bit of a jam here. He missed with that one. The count is full 3-2. He has struck out 3 today. He's yet to walk a batter. 3-2 to Aguilar with Travis Shaw on deck. Ball 4. They're on the corners with the one down for the cleanup man, Travis Shaw, the third baseman, who's flying out to center in his first at bat. Travis Shaw leading the Brewers in RBIs. He's top 10 in the league, in fact, in runs batted in. And up there in an RBI spot right here. Fastball in, and it's 1-0. Shaw had a pair of singles last night. He's been a hitter lately, batting nearly .330 in his last 14 games, including 3 home runs. Big cut at that one. That Greinke changeup comes in hard, 87-88. It's not a velocity differential pitch for Zack Greinke like it is for most pitchers. His changeup is more about the movement. Fastball right down Main Street, and Shaw swung through it 1-2. Oh, he tried it and just missed. He'll usually throw 1 or 2 of those pitches in a game tops. That's the eephus. Came in with it to the lefty like he's done a lot lately. That's the pitch on which he's given up a number of home runs this year.
And it's kind of shocking that he throws that pitch to the inside part of the plate to a left-handed hitter. Normally you would try to backdoor it, get him way out in front, or just quit on the pitch, but it seems like every time he goes to that big, slow curveball, it ends up on the inside corner of the plate.
I saw Eric Ibar hit a home run on that pitch in San Diego in that 1-0 loss. Gregory Polanco with a Pirates home run on that same breaking ball into the lefty at Chase Field. We talked about the home run by Garcia Monday. So here it is, 1 out, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Travis Shaw. Sogard at third and Aguilar at first. Back-to-back walks and followed the Sogard double, and the Brewers with 1 out have the bases loaded for Domingo Santana. Greinke was cruising 9 up 9 down through the first 3 innings, but some bumps in the road. 21 pitches, and he's only got 1 out here in the 4th. Santana struck out his first time up against Greinke. There's Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, on the rank. Late time granted by Greg Gibson. Greinke at 50 pitches, 30 strikes. Good Greinke slider, and it's 0-2. That has been the money pitch the last month or so during this run. Sogard at third, Aguilar at second, and Shaw at first. 1 out. 0-2 on Domingo Santana. Got him. A huge out, number 2.
That was almost too easy. 3 sliders, 3 feeble swings from Santana. 2 outs now in the inning. Zack Greinke 1 batter away from escaping this jam.
But it'll have to be Jet Bandy, the Brewer catcher, who homered in the 7th inning last night off Jorge De La Rosa. His 6th of the year. Jet Bandy, a U of A product. Played his college ball in Tucson. Brewers picked him up from the Angels in a trade in December. Can't hold up, and it's 0-1. It's been Bandy behind the plate. He's been bandied about, if you will, for most of this series. After Manny Pena, who started Thursday's game, their other catcher, was hit right on the elbow by a Robbie Ray pitch. Fortunately, it was just a bruise, but it's been Bandy who had to come in and pinch run, and it's been Bandy behind the plate ever since. Pena is not on the DL, but he's not appeared since he was hit by that pitch.
Now, some bruises are a little more serious than others, and that ball hit him just above the left elbow. I'm sure all the swelling went down into the joint.
Boy, he's got that slider going now. 0-2. A double and 2 walks, bases loaded, 1 out. He struck out Santana. Now 0-2 on Jet Bandy. that a good example there of Greinke being willing to waste a pitch?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you have the kind of command that Zack Greinke does on all of his pitches, and you're ahead in the count 0-2, I mean, you can kind of pick and choose. You can elevate a fastball up above the top of the zone. You can push a hitter off the plate with a fastball in. You can bounce a breaking ball, try to get him to chase something out of the zone. And now the count back to 2-2. Now you want to put him away right here on this pitch.
Well, he's thrown a couple of sliders down in the dirt. Both times Bandy is laid off. So time for plan B.
And this is one of those situations once again where they're probably determining what they're going to throw on this next pitch, and Jeff Mathis will go back behind the plate and not even give a sign. No chance that the Brewers can relay anything to the hitter at the plate.
Greg Gibson out to the mound to break this up. It's nice to see that professional courtesy that some of the umpires give in these situations. It's a walk to the mound, and it starts pretty early in the process, but it's not a quick walk to the mound. You want to keep it moving, but you know, they got to give these guys some time.
Yeah, you know, especially in a situation like this, bases loaded, key point in the ball game here. If you do it 5 or 6 innings in a row for no apparent reason, he's liable to follow you right out to the mound.
Here's the 2-2. That is a foul ball.
Nice play.
Yeah, real nice play by the Brew Crew man down there. We'll do it again on 2-2. How about this catch?
Yeah, hooking line drive. That gentleman sitting down there next to the tarp. Oh, basket catch.
Hey, can I get your number after? It's a nice catch.
First baseman's mitt. He should be on the other side of the diamond.
Two balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded. No, he didn't go. Lance Barrett at first, and it's a full count, 3-2. Third 3-2 count in a span of the last 4 hitters for Zack Greinke. Keon Broxton would be next.
Another hard slider. This time Bandy able to check in time. Runs the count to full. The runners will be in motion with the pitch.
And the Brewer fans are on their feet here at Miller Park. Runners go, and that one is blasted deep left field, and it's off the wall. Sogard scores. Aguilar right behind. Shaw is home, and it's 3-0 Milwaukee. Jet Bandy, a 3-run double.
After a steady diet of sliders throughout the at-bat, Zack Greinke tries to zip a fastball past Jet Bandy. That's the best swing we've seen him take in this series. He's been big and long and loopy with that swing. But again, Zack Greinke on the full count pitch, very quick, got to that fastball and clears the bases.
Well, it's turned out to be a pretty good series for Jet Bandy. The home run last night, the 3-run double here in the 4th, and it's 3-0 Milwaukee. Time to regroup on the Diamondback mound. Mike Butcher and Greg Gibson, the plate umpire, in a discussion now. And the hitter will be the center fielder, Keon Broxton. This is not a position in which Zack Greinke is used to finding himself in this ballpark. We gave the numbers earlier. 16-2 career at Miller Park, Zack Greinke. And when he pitched here for Milwaukee in just about a season and a half, he was unbeaten, 15-0. But now down 3-0. Greinke has really had to labor here in the fourth. 33 pitch fourth inning, and he's still got some work to do ahead of Broxton 0-2. Retired the first 9 batters he faced. Well, Broxton is the guy you want to face when you want to get out of a long inning. He's leading the league in strikeouts. Actually tied with his teammate Jonathan Villar for the National League strikeout lead. 2-2.
If my math is correct, Zack Greinke threw 9 consecutive sliders. The strikeout of Santana, and then the first 5 pitches of the at bat to Jet Bandy before trying to finish him off with a fastball.
Not surprising the way he's leaned on that pitch during this month-long run or so, however long it's been. That slider for him has been kind of born again. 5-0 in his last 6 starts. 58 strikeouts over that span. According to Elias, the most over any 6-start span in Greinke's career. 58 Ks. And one more to the list. But Jet Bandy delivers a bases clearing double, and it's 3-0 Milwaukee.
It's 3-0 as we head to the top half of the 5th inning. Time to take a look back at baseball history. Brought to you by Geico. On this day in 1986, a game was postponed in Cleveland because of fog. The pitcher for the Red Sox that night, Oil Can Boyd, said, "What do you expect when you build a ballpark on the ocean?"
One of the great quotes of all time. Dennis Oil Can Boyd. One of the great baseball nicknames of all time. You know, the can got to be the can. It was like Ricky, who would often refer to himself as the can.
The can, yeah.
Nick Ahmed will lead off the 5th against former Diamondback Chase Anderson, who's now got a 3-0 lead. Anderson has been sensational so far. He has walked 3, but he's got 8 strikeouts through the first 4 innings. He has punched out 2 batters in every inning so far. The fastball's been working for him real well. Breaking ball starts off Ahmed, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, hopefully that extended bottom of the 4th inning throws Chase Anderson out of his rhythm, because he was in a real good rhythm through the first 4.
Sure was. Set down the first. Pardon me, he walked the first 2 he faced, Blanco and Owings, to lead off the ball game, and it looked like right away Anderson might be in trouble, but he struck out Goldie, struck out Lamb, got out of that first inning jam. And retired 10 in a row before one out walk to Lamb in the fourth. Bounced back with 2 strikeouts. He got Tomas and Fuentes. And now Ahmed hits a pop foul to open up the fifth. Jeff Mathis, the catcher today, as is usually the case when Zach Greinke's on the mound. Mathis grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Jeff Mathis, after a long dry spell at the plate through most of April, has really become more productive up there this month. He's hit safely in 8 of his last 11 starts, including a couple of home runs. Every once in a while, he'll tee one up, pull one down the line for a double, or hit one out. Taking all the way on 2-0.
Seen a few more cutters from Chase Anderson today. That's that pitch that registers 87, 88, 89. Has just a little subtle movement away from a right-handed hitter.
Not much subtle about that.
Nope. Those mid-90s numbers you see are on the velocity. That's the 4-seam fastball. And either it's a hot gun or Chase Anderson is really feeling it today. We've never seen him throw this hard.
He was up to 97 earlier in the ball game, which seemed a little much. Left one out over the plate a bit. Mathis gets it up in the air deep left center, but Broxton's there, and that's the second out. Yeah, Chase Anderson bulked up a little bit in the offseason. He put on about 10 pounds. He thought that would help his durability over the course of the long year, because he averaged only about 5 innings per start last season with the Brewers. And he also became a dad. Chase and his wife Anna had their first child, Robert, named after Chase's father. And he's done a good job this year mixing up his pitches a little better. Got a little more zip on that fastball. He's pitching inside a little more often, trying to be aggressive. And as he put it, have the mentality of being the hunter and not the hunted. Quickly ahead of Zach Greinke, 0-2. And Zach, after that long fourth inning, might have to get right back out there. A lot of the guys today going with that camo colored footwear that Chase Anderson has on the mound. Those are some pretty sweet kicks.
Those are similar to the ones that Zach Godley was considering wearing last night, but he ended up wearing his mutters and went out there and pitched a gem.
Sure did. Looks at a breaking ball for called strike 3. Chase Anderson has 9 strikeouts through 5 and a 3-0 lead. Memorial Day weekend. D-backs trail the Brewers 3-0. Time for the unlimited baseball break. It's presented by T-Mobile. A look around the rest of the major leagues. Neil Walker in his return to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh native, homered twice for the Mets, 500 career RBIs. And guess what? Max Scherzer struck out a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah. The Padres.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting used to that.
They sure are. Our director, Phil the Iron Horse Mollica, would like to point out that the Yankees also won. Not sure that's relevant, frankly. Orlando Arcia, the shortstop, leads off the bottom of the fifth. Good to have the Iron Horse back with us. You know, he's worked, it's almost like 5 games in a row.
Wow.
So, could be man down here soon. Actually, Phil has been taking, I'm sure you've noticed, picked up on this, a lot of the credit for this current D-backs 5-game winning streak. His presence has kind of changed the mojo. I know for our group, anyway. Not sure the Diamondbacks know or care, but nor should they. And it's good to have Phil back. If we could just get him to stop wearing that St. Louis Blues hat, that would be good.
Yeah, Phil is so good in so many aspects of what he does, but severely misguided in his hockey support of the Blues.
It is unwavering. Back to the days of Sillaps. Zach Greinke, 70 pitches, 43 strikes. 2-2 on the Brewers shortstop. Reaches out and lifts it to center for Fuentes. By the way, I know we're going to Miami. Well, some of us are going to Miami.
Yes.
I know you're on special assignment. Did you see that home run that Giancarlo Stanton hit at Marlins Park?
I did look it up after you mentioned it. Ooh, goodness.
I think he might have cleared the batter's eye out there in that ballpark, which is, there are no words. Chase Anderson fouls that one off. We got a 4-game series at the end of this road trip against the Marlins in Miami. One more here against the Brewers tomorrow. That's Patrick Corbin versus Jimmy Nelson. Then 3 in Pittsburgh Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Followed by 4 at Miami. You will be preparing for your special assignment. Here's our showstopper. Watch where this one goes.
Oh.
You can't even see it.
Yeah, it hit about halfway up the wall behind those bushes out there in dead center field.
It's good for those every once in a while as Greinke gets his 6th strikeout, 2 down. So we'll deal with Giancarlo at the end of this trip. Hopefully we see Taijuan Walker make a start in that series. Torey Lovello told us today there's still a chance after Taijuan throws a simulated game in Pittsburgh either Monday or Tuesday. They're still not sure. Trying to come back from that blister. Sogard doubled and scored his last time up in the leadoff spot today. He's 1 for 2.
Yeah, those Marlins have really been struggling at home this year. 7-14.
Well, they keep trying to sell the team, or somebody's trying to buy the team. Derek Jeter,
Tom Glavine.
It's hard to keep up. It's a strange sports city, Miami.
They like their Hurricanes. Do you?
Don't mention that to Jody. You'll get the whole thing. She's a proud alum of the U.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever do that at Ohio? Did they walk around calling it the U?
No, OU. Not Oklahoma.
No.
Ohio U is the real OU.
Everybody knows that. Don't tell that to Archie Bradley, big Sooner fan. Or for Chase Anderson, for that matter, who's a Sooner.
Yeah, I learned very quickly when I got into professional ball, and teammates would say, "Where'd you go to school?" "Oh, you." And they'd always ask me, "Do you know this guy?" No. Where'd they go to school? "Well, they went to Oklahoma." No. Ohio U.
The Ohio U. Way up in the air for Fuentes, and Greinke bounces back with a 1-2-3 fifth inning, but the Diamondbacks trail the Brewers 3-0. D-backs trail the Brewers 3-0. MLB.TV Premium is back, fans, and it's better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices, and you'll get a free subscription to At That Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. There are some blackout and other restrictions, so check out MLB.TV for details. Chase Anderson has been electric so far. 5 hitless innings. He has walked 3, struck out 9. 80 pitches as he starts the 6th. There's the leadoff man, Gregor Blanco.
Come on, bats. Trying to get something going here.
Yeah. Well, Blanco had 3 hits in the series opener here, including a leadoff home run on Thursday. Out there in right field today. Torey Lovullo wanted to get David Peralta off his feet this afternoon. Want to keep Peralta fresh, day game after night game, on all of that business. And Blanco is in right field. Torey really believes in and puts into practice the idea of rest, especially now in the middle of a long grinding stretch of games on the road.
Maybe that's where Phil Mollica got it.
Well, there's rest and then there's long absences. Well, Torey made it clear a number of times today. In fact, he said no one is exempt from a day off. Nobody. And it's something that's important to him. And yes, that means an off day for Goldie is coming in the very near future. He wouldn't say exactly when, but he did say, yeah, the Goldie off day, that's in my crosshairs. He's got a day in mind. He won't share it with us, but it's coming soon. Blanco lifts one to right center for Keon Broxton. 6 in a row set down by Chase Anderson.
You know, there are a number of obvious triggers to give a guy a day off if he struggles against a particular opposing pitcher or maybe doesn't hit well in that ballpark. Played a lot of innings leading up to a certain day that you've circled on the calendar, but regardless of when it is, they're going to miss Goldie.
No way around that.
But like I mentioned before, that's a heck of a weapon to have available off the bench to drop in there wherever the situation calls for it.
Well, they had those 2 blowout wins earlier in the month, and you and I kind of joked, you know, he took half a game off, then another half a game off with a big lead, and That really did allow Torrey to push Goldie's off day this month back until the very end of May. He bought himself a little time there, but he's got an idea of when he's going to sit 44. And it could be any day now. Boy, Chase Anderson, you got to give it up to him. He has been terrific here.
He really has been. We've kind of joked about the hot radar gun here, and on that particular subject, they tune the radar guns at every ballpark before the game. There's a tuning fork. One is a 55-mile-an-hour fork, another's a 65-mile-an-hour fork. And they calibrate those radar guns so they make sure that they're getting accurate readings before the game starts.
Yeah, but don't different ballparks have reputations? Oh, that's a hot gun, or that's a slow gun.
Yep. I mean, there's a certain margin for error with the tuning fork. What I was reading online said the 55-mile-an-hour fork, you expect a reading between 54 and 56. So, you know, there is a little wiggle room there.
25 pitches at 95 or better from Chase Anderson, and that's a whole different deal than we saw. That's all we can say about that. Anderson at 90 pitches now, 56 strikes. He's yet to give up a base hit. 2-2 on Chris Owens. Greg Gibson didn't bite that time. It's a full count. Well, unless he can come up with some miracle here, there won't be a no-hitter for Chase Anderson, not at 92 pitches. Walked the first 2 in the ball game he faced, then set down 10 straight. Walked Lamb with 1 out in the 4th. And he has retired 6 straight since that walk to Lamb. Chris Owens still alive. Started second base for CO. Brandon Drury not in the starting lineup. So Drury is getting the day off, and Torrey says that will continue tomorrow as well. You'll see some guys sit. This ballpark, the lighting in this ballpark, there's no way around it. It's really weird. But you can see you get that sort of swipe of shadow now that moves across the field from first base toward third base. And now the shadow is in the center of the field. You've got both corner outfielders in the sun, and everybody in the middle is in the shadow.
And that sunlight will continue to move out across the field because of those big panel windows on the first base side.
And CO looks at a strike. That's 10 strikeouts for Chase Anderson.
I tried to get CO to chase a changeup earlier in the count. He would not chase, but that time a high breaking ball called strike 3.
And at the plate right now as Goldie comes up, because of the window panels that are behind the first base dugout way up high, it creates that kind of shadow grid with the lines crisscrossing around home plate. You got all kinds of lighting things going on here. Goldie so far 0 for 2. Rolls that one to third for Shaw. Well, tip of the cap, wag of the finger. Chase Anderson, a no-hitter through 6. Diamondbacks down 3-0. June 10th, Diamondbacks and these Brewers. First 20,000 fans with us get the D-backs pool towel, courtesy of Gila River Casinos. It's really soft. It's nice and big. Perfect for the pool all summer long. So we'll see you at the ballpark. Get your tickets, dbacks.com. The D-backs and the Brewers on June 10th. That's a Saturday. Eric Thames 0 for 2 leads off the 6th against Zack Greinke. Greinke 80 pitches, 51 for strikes. He has been outstanding except for a very long and laborious 4th inning during which he walked 2 and gave up 2 doubles, one by Jet Bandy, the catcher, with 2 outs of the bases loaded that made it 3-0. And since that double, Greinke's retired all 4 he's faced, 1 and 2 now on Thames. Eric Thames was asked a lot when he hit a whole bunch of home runs, 11 home runs in April, about Korea. What was it like, you know, playing over there for 3 years? And he said the food was mystifying. And you have to ride, the teams ride to and from the team hotel on the bus wearing their full uniforms. It's kind of like a parade. That's a completely different thing. And this I'd never heard of, that in Korea all the games stop midway through and everybody has a 5-minute smoke break. At least that's according to the New York Times.
Wow.
Yeah. So Thames felt pretty lonely there, very isolated. But he promised himself he would stick it out, and he hit 1 million home runs. Got himself a $16 million deal with the Brewers. But I had never heard of that at all.
No, that's a new one for me.
Stop the game for 5 minutes in the middle. Light them up.
Smoke them if you got them.
And everybody's got them apparently. There's that good batting eye we talked about. Full count now, 3-2. This guy would sit in his apartment in Korea all by himself watching video, working on his swing. He'd watch tapes of Barry Bonds and other hitters. Kind of taught himself how to be a hitter over there. That's a fair ball for Goldie. 1 away. Let's go downstairs to Jody.
Yeah, Steve, you guys have talked about Eric Thames struggling recently after a very hot April, hitting the 11 home runs. I asked Craig Counsell today, you know, what do you do as a staff to help him get through this little bit of a slump, get him back to what he was? Counsell said very simply, put him in the lineup every day. And basically saying he's got to figure it out and learn, of course, the rigors of the major league season. He also said, look, he's a bit expanding his strike zone. We've seen some better at-bats today, though, by the way. And he said, get back to swinging at good pitches and laying off those bad ones.
Rarely saw a fastball in Korea once he started hitting homers over there. Jesus Aguilar. The amazing thing about Eric Thames when he was hitting all those home runs in Korea is he spent an entire college season at Pepperdine using an aluminum bat, 53 games, 200 ABs, not a single homer. So he has really come a long way. So based on that, and based on he's been in Asia for 3 years, there's a lot of people that go, well, he's on something. Well, he gets tested incessantly by Major League Baseball. Anytime a player has been away for more than 1 year, they come back, they get drug tested a lot. And Thames said, it's okay, I got a lot of blood and urine, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll be here every day. Just let me know.
Yeah, the Cubs were insinuating that there was something fishy going on with Eric Thames. He said, that's fine. I got plenty. Bring it on.
2 years ago in Korea, he hit .381 with 47 homers. Aguilar gets one in the air. Pretty deep left field corner. And it's gone. Jesus Aguilar. That's his 4th, and it's 4-0 Milwaukee. home run given up this year in his 11th start by Zack Greinke.
10th solo home run of the year against Zack Greinke. Yeah, Craig Counsell was talking about Aguilar the other day. This is why he likes him. He got a little bit fooled by that pitch, got out in front just a little bit, but he's got so much power, he lofts it up there into the second deck right down the left field line.
Travis Shaw. He gets one in the air, center field. Fuentes broke back, now it's got to come in. And what a play by Nick Ahmed, who hangs on. Oh, Fuentes has got it. Ray Fuentes broke straight back and then suddenly realized he'd got a bad read and came streaking in. Ahmed was running directly straight at him, and they collided out there in center field. He was not able to hang on. I think Ahmed had it. Fuentes ended up with it.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, Nick does.
Oh,
well,
he
he just missed it. Yeah, he just didn't reach out there far enough. Went as far out into center field as he thought he could. Yeah, that's unusual. Fuentes has so far taken great lines in the outfield on everything hit his direction, but fooled badly by that one.
So it drops in for a single. Here's Domingo Santana, who has struck out twice. Well, as we talked about, that shadow is in the middle, and he's right in the middle of the shadow, and it certainly seemed to play a factor there. And look at all the shadows and light coming in just in this shot here. I had one guy, really great former player, tell me, I hated that place. Miller Park. It's a beautiful ballpark, sure, but the light just, I couldn't see. The sun and shadow, I just couldn't hit there. This guy was a really good player. Swing and a miss. It rolls away from Mathis, and Shaw's in at second.
I mean, it's hard enough to hit under ideal conditions when it's either bright sunlight everywhere or shade and the lights on everywhere. But when you have conditions like this, it makes it doubly tough, especially facing good pitchers.
Diamondbacks do not have a base hit yet. Brewers have only 4 hits on 4 runs. A 3-run double by Bandy, the homer by Aguilar. 1 and 2 on Santana. Bullpen is busy for the Diamondbacks with Greinke down 4-0 and nearing 100 pitches. And he carved this one out into short right. Shaw being waved home by Ed Cedar, and it's 5-0 Brewers. A slicing liner off the bat of Domingo Santana.
Well, after carving him up in his first 2 at bats, Santana stays on this slider and drives it to the opposite field. He was just flailing his sliders in his first 2 at bats. Good adjustment right there to drive that ball into right field for an RBI hit.
And that will be it for Zack Greinke. His day is done. Back from Miller Park, Diamondbacks trail it 5-0. Out a base hit against Chase Anderson. Trail the Brewers 5-0. Zack Greinke's day is over. Fans, we remind you, plan ahead. Bring Dad to the ballpark coming up Sunday, June 25th. The D-backs will celebrate Dads with a Dad's Day special event. Fans who buy a special ticket package for Dad, they'll get a ticket to the game and a D-backs Dad cap. So get your tickets now, dbacks.com/dad, and we'll see you at Chase Field on Sunday, June 25th. Ashline called to the bullpen. It's the bartender, Tom Wilhelmsen, his 23rd appearance. He'll work to the guy who's had the game's biggest hit, Jet Bandy, who had a long battle with Greinke back in the 4th inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and Bandy hit one off the wall in left for a 3-run double. Since then, we've had the Aguilar home run and the Santana RBI single in the 6th inning to make it 5-0 Milwaukee. In the meantime, Chase Anderson has matched his career high with 10 strikeouts and 6 hitless innings. I saw you talking to the bartender the other day, talking about bands as usual.
Yeah.
I think you stumped him on one, didn't you?
Well, I checked the music schedule here in Milwaukee, given the fact we had the relatively early game today at 3 o'clock. Thought maybe there might be somebody playing tonight, but actually it was last night. Government Mule was playing at the Pabst Theater here in town.
They're just making these names up.
Warren Haynes and the boys.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
All right.
The extra inning game last night kind of shot that one right out of the water.
Yeah, you guys are way too hip for me. I'm just in the hotel room listening to my John Tesh albums. No, that's not right.
Yanni. Hey, Red Rocks.
Hey, don't knock Yanni. No.
A couple of Hall of Famers share a birthday today. Jeff Bagwell and the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas. 2 of the best first basemen of all time. Well, Frank ended up DHing a lot more than playing first, but
yeah, 2 relatively new Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Certainly.
And this is frightening. It's also Yohan Moncada,
yeah.
Moncada,
White Sox.
born in 1995.
That's just not right.
Oh, jeez.
He just came off the DL playing in the minor leagues for the White Sox. One of their top prospects. Santana takes off. Bandy lifts it in the air to right. Blanco's out there in the shadow. And they're going to have him not doubled off. He gets back in time. He was almost past second base when Blanco caught that ball. Running with a pitch. So 2 down for Keon Broxton, who's 0 for 2. See, Broxton wearing that face guard. He was hit in the face by a fastball this year, much like Chris Iannetta. So he's got that protective guard on there. But much like Iannetta, remarkably, hardly missed any time at all. Right back in there. Santana took 3 giant steps towards second base. His helmet fell off and he stopped. Not exactly textbook.
Not the way you draw it up.
No, that was ugly. I don't think the bartender was paying attention. They would have had him dead to rights. Got a little bit too good of a jump there and stopped.
Yeah, did you notice in the background there as Santana was taking his lead, he was edging off, and then when Wilhelmsen just held the ball, he came to a dead stop. That's when it's okay to go ahead and deliver the ball to home plate. Other than the premier base stealers in the game, for most guys, if you just make them stop like that, go ahead and deliver home. I mean, we see Goldie do it all the time. He gets that little bit of a walking lead, just edging off of first, and if you don't make him stop, he'll just keep going.
Well, the hands on the knees seems like it would be a dead giveaway. He's not going anywhere. Just like that. Oop. That's behind Goldie, and now he'll get second. Well, it's been that kind of day for the D-backs here in Milwaukee.
It didn't appear that throw was in the dirt. See who they give the error to here.
He won the error on the pitcher, Wilhelmsen. Put Santana at second, 2 outs and a 2-1 count on Broxton. Second base for Chris Owings. But the Brewers tack on 2 more. They lead it 5-0. One no-hitter in their history. Juan Nieves at Old Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. April 15th, 1987. Robin Yount with a tremendous diving catch out there in center field. And the Brewers no-hit the Orioles behind Juan Nieves. Right now, 6 no-hit innings for Chase Anderson. He has matched his career high with 10 strikeouts.
Got for Nieves in that no-hitter, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks.
Anderson today has walked 3, struck out 10. Jake Lamb leads off the 7th.
For Nieves, that was his second start of the season. He got banged around the first one, 5 1/3, gave up 8 hits and 6 earned runs against the Rangers, but then came right back against the Orioles and spun a gem.
He was a pitching coach for a long time, might still be somewhere. Juan Nieves. Anderson has retired the last 80s face since walking Lamb with 1 out in the 4th. But at 100 pitches, 63 strikes with 9 more outs to get. Not sure if it's in the cards for Chase. It's Lamb to pop it up shallow right. Sogard drifting out there. He'll give way to Santana. You never know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, you look back over the scorecard today, and the Diamondbacks just haven't made much solid contact against Chase Anderson. I can't remember a hard hit ball in this game by the D-backs.
He has been dominant. There's no other way to look at it. Chase's high pitch count for the year is he's already done it. He's had been yet to throw 100 pitches in a ball game this season. So this is uncharted waters for him right now. His previous high had been 99. He'd done that twice earlier this month. And he's not been pitching very deep into games. Gone past the 6th inning only once all year. That was his second start this season. A win at Toronto. 0-2 on Tomas. Last time Chase Anderson had 10 strikeouts, he was wearing a Diamondback uniform. It was September 2015 at Dodger Stadium. Struck out 10 Dodgers in that game. Anderson last year did stretch to 110 pitches. That was once in a start in the middle of May last year. He beat the Cubs here at Miller Park. Went 8 2/3 in that ball game. Brewers trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. 3 games under 500 at home this season. They're on a 6-game homestand right now, but so far on the homestand they're 0-4. Anderson trying to turn that around. Now Osmani driving up the pitch count here. It's 2-2.
If you peek into that glove of Chase Anderson when he's pitching out of the windup, you can see him change that grip from 2 fingers, either a fastball or a slider, to the changeup grip. When he slides the middle finger and the ring finger around on top of the baseball, this looks like changeup.
Full count, 3-2. Ray Fuentes on deck.
As he starts his delivery, you peek into that glove. This is something traditional, fastball or breaking ball. Yeah, cutter. You'll either see the index finger and the middle finger on the baseball, which indicates either, like I said, fastball, breaking ball. If you see his hand slide around and the middle finger and ring finger on the baseball, that's the changeup. He's very subtle about the way he does it right in the middle of his windup. Very tough for a hitter to pick anything up.
And he's making it tough for Craig Counsell to leave him in the ball game now. Pitch number 110 on the way. No one throwing in the Brewer bullpen. Called strike 3. A new career high 11 strikeouts for Chase Anderson. 2 down in the 7th.
Front door breaking ball. That's like the kind they throw in high school. Start it right at the batter, break it over the inside part of the plate. Just freezes Tomas that time.
Second time in the ball game today that Anderson has retired 10 consecutive Diamondbacks. The batter is Ray Fuentes, who was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. First pitch swinging. Shaw at third. Chase Anderson at Miller Park, a no-hitter through 7. Diamondbacks trail it 5-0. A no-hitter through 7. Brewers batting now in the home half of the 7th inning here at Miller Park. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. The finale of this 4-game series. Patrick Corbin against Jimmy Nelson. Diamondback Live pregame show at 10:30 tomorrow morning back home in Arizona. First pitch 11:10. Well, Chase Anderson is out there in the on-deck circle, ready to take his at-bat, and the bullpen for the Brewers, which had some activity a moment ago, is now quiet. Chris Owings knocks it down but can't make a play, and Orlando Arcia is aboard. And here comes Chase to take the at-bat.
You would expect Chase Anderson to try to put down a sacrifice bunt in this situation. He's yet to get one down this year. See if we can bunt into a double play here.
It looked like with the pitcher spot due up second in this inning and the bullpen busy for the Brewers that Craig Counsell would pull him, but he might have changed his mind. Anderson squares, pulls back, and takes ball 1.
How many pitches did Edwin Jackson? Was it like 148 pitches in his no-hitter?
I think it was 248.
149, I'm being told.
Jake Lamb coming in from third. Chase gets it down first base side, but it rolls foul. Well, he's pitching the game of his life today either way. We'll see how much longer Craig Counsell can go with him. Lamb comes in from third again. Anderson tries to butcher boy one, but he fouls it off, and it's 1-2. No one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. So Wilhelmsen has this inning after getting the last 2 outs of the 6th. It can't be fun for that guy trying to figure out when to pull the plug. Swing and a miss. Mathis can't find it. Doesn't matter. First base occupied. Arcia able to move up, and that's the strikeout. I remember Terry Collins, the Mets manager, when Johan Santana finally threw a no-hitter for the Mets a few years ago, and I think he threw like 130-something pitches and was never the same after that.
Yeah. Tim Lincecum's no-hitter, one of his no-hitters, he threw 148 pitches, and they didn't keep exact pitch counts before 1988, but they're estimating that Nolan Ryan in one of his no-hitters threw 156.
He probably threw a bullpen the next day, Nolan Ryan. There is no one warming up in the Brewer bullpen. Eric Selgaard, the leadoff man, looks at ball 1. Selgaard doubled and scored in that 3-run Brewer 4th. Came in on Jet Bandy's bases loaded double. Brewers added 2 more in the 6th, an Aguilar home run and a Santana RBI single. Milwaukee 5 runs on 6 hits. Diamondbacks 0-0-1. And no one has anything to say to Chase Anderson, which was very different from what we saw in the Diamondback dugout not too long ago with Zach Greinke. He was chatting up everybody in there. Had a no-hitter through 7. Lost it in the 8th. And the seats are out of play.
Says on the interweb, Jim Maloney threw a no-hitter against the Cubs in 10 innings. They're estimating 186 pitches in that game. That was a different era.
These days that's 3 starts for some guys. And Chase is going to, it looks like, at least get the top of the 8th. 1-2 on Sogard. Kind of reminds me of the game we did more than 5 years ago now in San Francisco against the Giants when Yusmeiro Petit took, I think it was a perfect game into the 9th inning. Eric Chavez came off the bench, had a 2-out single to break that one up in the 9th. Sogard dunks that one into shallow center. Arcia coming home, and it's 6-0 Milwaukee. Second hit today for the leadoff man, Eric Sogard.
Well, we just got done playing the White Sox, and our buddy Hawk Harrelson would call that one a duck snort. It's a little jam shot over the head of Chris Owings into shallow center field to drive home another run.
Chase Anderson going to the sweatshirt now. Looks like this inning might take a while. Eric Thames. Thames is 0 for 3. Well, this has kind of come out of nowhere for Chase Anderson. 0-1 in his last 6 starts with Milwaukee. Brewers have won only 2 of Anderson's last 6 starts. He's coming off a loss at Wrigley Field his last time out. That was Sunday. He lasted only 4 innings in that game against the Cubs. Gave up 6 runs, 7 hits. And he has failed to finish 5 innings in 3 of his 4 starts this month. So this is very much a reversal of fortune for Anderson. Thames shoots one toward the left field corner and foul.
Now, obviously, Eric Thames brought his elbow guard from Korea with him.
Well, now the Brewers bullpen. Here's the elbow guard. Brewers bullpen will have some activity now. Scahill, the right-hander. He last worked Tuesday versus the Blue Jays. Oh, 2 on Eric Thames.
That's one of the unfortunate byproducts of that pull shift. That's a ball that, had the Diamondbacks been playing in a traditional lineup, somebody probably would have got to that foul ball, but because Jake Lamb is playing up the middle of the field at the shortstop position, all the other defenders are on the right side of the infield. Nobody could get there in time.
And you've got to figure that Counsell is thinking, if I send him out there for the 8th and he has one of those 6-7 pitch innings, maybe we'll think about the 9th. That seemed to be the only way that it could happen for Chase Anderson, based only on the pitch count, of course. But how do you take a guy out who's pitching the game of his life? That's why it's a hard job.
Yeah, I don't. Go get him.
Got him. They went and got Sogard, picked him off. Lance Barrett, the first base umpire down there.
Hey fans, a day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Brewers won't even bother with the pretense of a review. They'll just move on. 2 down in the inning now. Still 0-2 on Thames. Little roller over the mound. Ahmed has it behind the bag. Or Owens, pardon me, with a shift on. And here we go. Chase Anderson, a no-hitter through 7, coming back out for the 8th. No hit. Out of ball, Sanchez, 2006.
I'd have to review that play at first. That was very close. Eric Burns getting down the line there.
Well, last year, Chase Anderson, in his first season with the Brewers, had a no-hitter through 7. May 17th against the Cubs. Then Zobrist led off the 8th with a base hit that broke up the no-no. It was a double to center field. Hernan Perez takes over in left field, replacing Eric Thames. Nick Ahmed leads off the 8th inning. Anderson in that game May 17th last year wound up giving up 2 runs on 3 hits and 8 2/3. Got the victory. Brewers held on and won it 4-2.
That's a knock.
That's a base hit. And Ahmed, just like last year, somebody leads off the 8th with a base hit. Round of applause for Chase. Here comes Craig Counsell. Chase Anderson, 7 no-hit innings, a walk 3, a new career high 11 strikeouts. Nick Ahmed single to lead off the 8th, breaks up the no-no, and there goes Chase Anderson. Chase Anderson leaves the mound at Miller Park after 7 no-hit innings. Nick Ahmed leads off the 8th with an infield single, and it's the Diamondbacks' only hit so far, so let's make it our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game.
Nice effort by Eric Sogard coming over from his second base position on the shortstop side of the field. A diving attempt in shallow center. They weren't going to get Nick even if he comes up with a clean.
So Chase Anderson exits. New pitcher for the Brewers, the right-hander Rob Scahill. Brought up from AAA Colorado Springs earlier this month. His 8th appearance of the year. Jeff Mathis is the hitter. Ahmed a leadoff single. Diamondbacks down 6-0.
The way Chase Anderson was throwing the ball today, the Diamondbacks' theory is ABA, anybody but Anderson. We don't care who comes out of that bullpen. Get Chase Anderson out of this game.
Chance for a double play ball. Arcia scoops to Sogard, and they turn it. Daniel Descalso is the hitter. He'll bat for Tom Wilhelmsen. Descalso 194, 4 homers. Grounded out as a pinch hitter last night. 2 for 12 as a pinch hitter this season, including a home run. D-backs 10-1 in their last 11 games. They've won 13 of their last 16. But they'll need a whole lot of drama to keep that mojo going here. Down 6-0 in the 8th.
And if this score holds up, the Diamondbacks will point back to that first inning when Chase Anderson was shaky at the beginning of the game, walked the first 2 hitters, looked like he was very vulnerable in that first inning, but came back to strike out Goldie and Jake Lamb. Got Yasmani Tomas to hit into a fielder's choice, and he cruised after that.
Walked Blanco, walked Owings, then set down 10 in a row. Walked Lamb with 1 out in the 4th, then set down 11 in a row. 11 strikeouts along the way, a new career high. 2-1 on Daniel Descalso. Andrew Chafin's warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. So it looks like Chafin will get the whole half of the 8th inning. Chafin worked in the ball game last night. Came on to start the 8th inning and threw 17 pitches. Gave up a walk to VR, an RBI single by Perez. Full count to Descalso, 3-2. Gregor Blanco on deck. Struck him out. Bottom 8 on the way. Diamondbacks have 1 hit, but they trail it 6-zip. Headline is Chase Anderson, a no-hitter through 7. Nick Ahmed broke it up in the 8th. The Diamondbacks only hit of the ball game. Jet Bandy had the Brewers' big hit. A 2-out, bases-loaded 3-run double off Zach Greinke in the 4th inning. They've tacked on 3 more. They lead at 6-0. And the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks is the left-hander Andrew Chafin. Chafin worked in the game last night. Pitched the 8th inning through 17 pitches. He'll work to Jesus Aguilar, who homered his last time up off Zach Greinke. Number 4 on the year for the Brewers' first baseman. Chafin ahead quickly 0-2. Here's Ryan Braun back on the DL with that left calf problem. Brewers a man short on the bench, but it hardly mattered today. Matt Garza there on the left. Chafin comes in and strikes out Aguilar to open up the 8th. Here's the third baseman, Travis Shaw. He has walked, singled, and scored twice today, 1 for 2. Torey Lovullo very familiar with Travis Shaw after Torey's long tenure on the Red Sox coaching staff. Shaw was the Boston third baseman last year. 16 home runs. He knocked in 71 runs, but was traded here to Milwaukee in the offseason. Now the Red Sox are still trying to find somebody to play third base, and Shaw is leading the Brewers in RBIs. This guy's a good player, Torey told us. Looked like the panda might be the answer in Boston there for about 10 seconds, and that kind of faded away. Showed up to camp in great shape anyway.
Didn't translate on the field. They can't really find somebody to play third in Boston because Shaw's here in Milwaukee. Dave Dombrowski, the GM over there, really wanted to strengthen that bullpen, so he acquired Tyler Thornburg, the reliever here from the Brewers, for a bunch of players, Shaw among them. Thornburg's been out all season with a shoulder injury, and the Red Sox have no third baseman.
I mentioned last night Jeff Shaw, the father of Travis Shaw, a longtime closer for the Reds, later in his career for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He had 3 40 save seasons, 40 or more save seasons in the big leagues. Had a real nice run from 1997 through 2001.
That's where Travis Shaw grew up, in the Cincinnati suburbs, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Home of the, what is it, the Blackberry Festival?
Pumpkin Festival.
Pumpkin Festival, sure. 3-2. How could I forget? Called strike 3. Chafin gets his second strikeout, 2 down.
Ted always has a look on his face like, do you really want me to take this as bad?
Yeah, he kind of does, doesn't he? Well, he had an RBI single his last time up. Domingo Santana from the Dominican Republic, originally signed by the Phillies back in '09. He spent most of the last 8 years in the minor leagues. He'll turn 25 later this year. Santana's season last year cut short by injuries. He was on the DL in May with a right shoulder strain. Then in June, a bad right elbow. So he's had a rough go of it here. Ahmed throws him out. 9th inning on the way. Diamondbacks trail the Brewers 6-0.
Back 6-0 as we head to the top half of the 9th inning. Chase Anderson took a no-hitter into the 8th inning before Nick Ahmed grounded one up the middle of the field to break up the no-no. Rob Scahill came in with a clean inning, and now he'll be followed by right-hander Neftali Perez on for the Brewers. Trying to finish it out here. Be the top of the order for the Diamondbacks: Gregor Blanco, Chris Owings, and Paul Goldschmidt. Wouldn't it be something? Put a rally on him here. Score 7. We know the Diamondbacks are capable of putting up crooked numbers. They've had a number of big innings this year. All starts with the top of the order, Gregor Blanco.
And Blanco will lead it off. Blanco owings Goldie 1, 2, and 3 here in the ninth against Phillies. Blanco walked to lead off the ball game. He's 0 for 2. Well, that's a long run.
Isn't it, though?
Need some oxygen. God forbid the writers miss a pitch.
Yeah.
Broadcasters.
Yeah, the restroom here at Miller Park is roughly at Wrigley Field.
It's about a mile. It's down the hall about a mile and a half away from the booth. So running down the hallway like the $6 million man. Yeah, see those guys, it's right behind them.
Right behind them.
They don't have to be on the air or anything. Turns into the running the Bulls in Pamplona or something. Every time I have one of those situations, you know, drinking a lot of water here during the game, you do what you can. I think of Ron Santo. Listening to him do a Cub game one time on the radio with Pat Hughes. And the half inning comes back and it's only Pat. That one just missed, full count. And they're playing the Rockies and Troy Tulowitzki's up and he grounds out to second or something. Another guy comes up. Single to right field. Then about 2 batters into the half inning, you hear the door slam. You hear this with the microphone. Putting it on, and you can hear Ronnie getting back, and he says on the air, first thing he says is, "What'd Tulowitzki do?" Now that's how you cover a game.
That was one of the most entertaining radio broadcasts you would ever want to listen to. Pat Hughes and Ron Santo.
I used to listen in the car all the time. Blanco having some fun down there with Aguilar. CO fights that one off, 0-1. Blanco is right in front of him. Nice block, Chet Bandy. Bandy seems like he does a good job back there. He hits a little bit, handled the pitchers, blocks some balls, doesn't throw great, but you can see why the Brewers like him.
I mentioned it before the first game of the series. Craig Counsell is really happy with the combination of his 2 catchers this year. They've both provided some offense. Yeah, Bandy, as you mentioned, they have a little trouble throwing right now, but he's a big dude back there. 6'4", 235. When you stand next to him around the batting cage, he looks even bigger than that.
Yeah, it's like Matt Wieters. The Orioles catcher's now in Washington, kind of a big guy like that too.
And he's getting tested this inning by Neftali Feliz. There, the pitch is going in the dirt. And apparently Jet Bandy is kind of their version of David Peralta over on the other side of the field. He's a cut up. He likes to have fun in the clubhouse. He's always stirring it up. He's always loud. Keeps his teammates on their toes.
Well, when your name is Jet, you better have a personality.
Sit.
Get down ball. And it drops in between Arcia and Hernan Perez. So the D-backs here down 6-0 in the ninth. They have a couple of base runners to start the inning. And here comes the heart of the order, Goldie. 0 for 3 so far.
Obviously, the goal for the Diamondbacks here is to put 6 on the board and at least tie the game, preferably 7 and take a lead. But at worst, force Craig Counsell to make another pitching change. Get a little deeper into that Brewers bullpen so they're a little undermanned going into tomorrow's game.
Yeah, the Brewers last night used 4 relievers and used 4 in the series opener on Thursday. So the bullpen's been busy for Milwaukee. 2 on, no outs for Goldie. Fastball up and in, 98. 1-0. Hard to believe we've talked all series long. Here comes Derek Johnson, the pitching coach, about how Goldie just destroys this ballpark. But so far in the series, he is 1 for 9. He's got a double. He's walked 3 times. Brewers have done a good job against him.
And surprisingly, just hasn't looked comfortable at the plate. I mean, over the last 2 weeks, there wasn't a more comfortable hitter in the National League than Paul Goldschmidt. But since this series has started, as I mentioned earlier, some check swings, some very tentative swings at pitches in the strike zone, checking his swing on pitches just around the edges of the zone. Just doesn't appear to be seeing it real well, which is shocking given his career numbers in this ballpark.
Blanco's at second, Owings at first. Well, just like that.
It's just a center cut fastball, granted 98 miles an hour, but we've seen Goldie turn around 98 repeatedly.
Hits it hard and throw into left. Tony Perez-Chica going to wave Blanco home. The throw from Perez is late. And the Diamondbacks are on the board. The RBI single for Paul Goldschmidt. Got to chip away. Can't score 6 at once. A good start to the 9th.
Good swing that time by Goldie. Got a fastball inner third of the plate and just ripped it through that left side. A little bit of a dangerous send that time by Tony Perez-Chica. Perez was charging that ball hard in left field, but doesn't have the throwing arm you're used to seeing from a corner outfielder, and Blanco able to get on the plate.
First 3 have reached against Phillies in the 9th. Here's Jake Lamb 0 for 2 with a walk. He hits one where he hit it last night. This game's going to get awfully interesting in a real hurry. Lamb has homered in 3 of his last 4 games. 22 games for Jake in the month of May. He's knocked in 21 runs. He's ahead 2 balls and no strikes, 2 on, nobody out, and a run is in.
Three-run bomb right here makes it a 2-run game with nobody out in the inning. It'll get very interesting.
Yep. He just always has this painful look on his face.
Speaking of painful.
Yeah, that hurt. I bet it missed the guard, right?
Probably.
Always does.
Yep. The front of the foot there near the ball of the foot. I'll check tomorrow on Jake and see if he's wearing a different guard. They have some that go down over the top of the foot as well, depending on the area where you usually foul that ball off your front leg.
Greg Gibson going to give him a moment here. And he's going to need one tomorrow.
I say it all the time. It didn't just suddenly stop hurting. It still hurts. You just kind of file it away in the back of your mind somewhere and tell yourself you'll take care of it later.
Takes a fastball at 97 from Phillies, and he's worked it full 3-2. 19 pitches for Phillies, more balls than strikes. Tomas on deck. First base, Aguilar. High throw. And Arcia is able to get the foot down to get the force on Goldie.
He tried to throw that ball into left field.
Almost did.
Arcia makes a nice adjustment. He was coming into the bag expecting a good feed, possibly try to turn a double play, and throw goes high, able to come back down with the foot on the bag just in time.
So they're on the corners, one away, and the batter is Yasmani Tomas, who is 0 for 3, struck out twice. Owings at third, Lamb at first. Yasmani hits one up the middle. Arcia for one, and that's the ball game. Diamondbacks winning streak ends at 5. Chase Anderson was brilliant. 7 no-hit innings, a career high 11 strikeouts, and the Diamondbacks drop game 3 here in Milwaukee 6-1.
Yeah, really not much you can say about that. It doesn't matter whether the guy's the ace at the top of the rotation or a spot starter. On any given day, guys can go out there and really be feeling it. It was obvious after those first 2 walks that Chase Anderson was feeling it for the rest of the afternoon.
He was terrific, and their former teammates shut them down here today. Brewers snapped the 5-game losing skid. D-backs lose this one 6-1. Back with more after this.